Yo! We have a very special video for you today. I don't know why I said the royal we instead of I, but whatever. I have a very special video for all of you today. This is basically just brought on because there was a Facebook group that I'm in, and one of the people asked, hey, what's some horror movies that you think are super underrated and everything like that, and I put these three movies, and then I realized I really like these types of movies. And what types of movies are we talking about? Well, it's a type of horror that takes two genres, I guess, or two areas, one genre and one location, I suppose. Yeah, you know what? Let me just start over. This is the real intro right here. Horror. What is horror? A really cool genre, and I love it. And you should all know that by now if you've been watching me for a while. If this is your first video, go ahead and drop a like, subscribe, all of that type of stuff. And if it's not your first video, thanks for dropping in again. Yeah, like I said, horror. Absolutely amazing. And what's the scariest place that you can think of other than the ocean, a haunted house, a graveyard, maybe if you're superstitious. My God, that took like 8 takes right there. A whole bunch of other places. The ocean is like definitely number one for me, though. That place is way scarier than what I'm about to say. But yeah, some of you might have thought of outer space, baby. I guess it's better than Uranus, at least. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the type of jokes you can hope to see on this channel. Yeah, outer space is pretty spooky, pretty terrifying, pretty, ooh, I can't breathe out here, wah, bunch of crybabies, man. But yeah, outer space and horror go together like, peanut butter and cheese. Yeah, I like some weird food. Yeah, it's outer space. Come on, you know a lot of movies that take outer space and just bend it into a beautiful movie, like Aliens, Aliens 3. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. Event Horizon is about to come up later, but it's not one of the three movies I'm about to talk about. But that's another really good one that takes it and does it. But there's a stigma against these types of horror movies that I'm about to talk about, which is the slasher and slasher in space. There's a really big stigma, not even just in the horror community as a whole, but within every community. They literally, like, there's a whole bunch of jokes about how that's where horror goes to die. That's where franchises go to shrivel up and just disappear into obscurity. And you know what? I have to strongly disagree, because these three movies that I'm about to talk about are absolute bangers, okay? But yeah, I don't know. Without any further ado, this is definitely long enough for an intro. Let's just jump into the first movie, which I have decided to pick the least of these three movies to go first, just because, I don't know, let's start with the lowest and then get up to the best one. But yeah, first movie we're going to be talking about is
Intro. Intro. Drop it down. Word to your mother.
Leprechaun in Space 4, or Leprechaun 4 in Space, or, yeah, I guess that's the only two ways that you could say it, like, and it makes sense, but I don't know. It's not Leprechaun in Space 4, because it's the Leprechaun series with Warwick Davis. If you haven't seen these movies, please go and check them out. They are absolutely amazing, like, genuinely. And it's not Leprechaun in Space 4, it's Leprechaun 4, so I guess it is Leprechaun 4 in Space. But yeah, let's just let me forget about the title for a second and just talk about this movie. This is the movie where it reveals that the Leprechaun in this entire franchise is immortal and has been terrorizing this area of space to marry a space queen. Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, they come in and blow him up in the very beginning. One of the military dudes pisses on his body for some reason, and he goes up into his urethra. And then later, the military officer and some other chick is about to get busy, and he busts out of his stomach, or no, out of his crotch. He busts out of his crotch like a freaking baby, and it's awesome. This movie's so cool. and it's basically just a Leprechaun movie in space now. That's where it goes. There's also a weird doctor dude that turns himself into a spider. That's a really cool part. In one scene, he grabs a platter or whatever, like a little metal plate, and then with his telekinesis throws it into someone's face, and it flattens them like a Looney Tunes character. This movie is genuinely very good, and this movie does something better than the other two movies I'm going to be talking about, which is using sci-fi roots. This is a very, very old school sci-fi movie type of thing. Not really sci-fi movie-esque, but more sci-fi literature-esque. I have never seen a sci-fi movie with like the space princesses and like stuff like that, but this one really goes with it, like the space princesses and everything. And then there's a pretty funny part where she flashes them all, and then they're like, "Oh, that was pretty nice," and then she's like, "No, in my world that means you are about to see death." That's like the funniest part of this movie, actually. I really love the Leprechaun movies, like the franchise in general, though. And I think this one has some really good scenes and everything. And this is what I wanted to start out with first, just because this movie has the most in space, and then the second one I'm going to be talking about has way less in space. But it's always one of the go-to explanations for why going to space ruins franchises, even though I think it's one of the better movies in its franchise. But that's besides the point. I'll get to that. But Leprechaun 4, yeah, this movie is absolutely sick. It's literally just Leprechaun in space. He grows giant in one part because of a, enlargement ray or whatever, and they have to eject him out of the airlock. I mean, it's a cool movie. This is a really cool movie. I'd honestly say it's on par with all of the other Leprechaun movies, if not a little bit more fun. Which, yeah, Leprechaun movies need to be fun, at least. There's only one Leprechaun movie that I dislike, and that's Leprechaun Origins, though. I'd say skip that if you're gonna watch this franchise. But yeah, this right here, on the trilogy that we're going on, this is a very good starting point for why slashers in space is actually awesome. And that's because it's just fun, man. Especially whenever they go full on sci-fi with it, like this one did. And yeah, it's just really cool. And I like movies and stories where it goes full on sci-fi, where there's like alien princesses and other monsters and everything like that, and mad scientists that turn themselves into spider people. It's just really cool, man. And this is a perfect movie. Okay, moving on to one of my favorite franchises of all time. Well, not really my favorite franchise, but my favorite character, I guess, and favorite. I don't know. I love the Bloodbound Heart, or yeah, Bloodbound Heart. Yeah, that's the name of the book. I haven't read that book in a while. I read it as a child, and then once, whenever, like a little bit after that, I read it a couple times. It's just a little novella. If you haven't read it, you should. It's really good. Hellbound Heart. It's really good. It's written by like my favorite author, Clive Barker. I've read Scarlet Gospels, which is the sequel to that he wrote, and then I also watched every single Hellraiser movie. Yeah, I sat down and binge watched them all one day, and hey, yeah, it's definitely not all great. Hellraiser Bloodline, though, is one that I would say is absolutely amazing. This is, like I said, usually the go-to option whenever people are talking about why slashers in space don't work, which doesn't make sense to me because it's only a very, very small portion of the movie, and everything else in this movie is absolutely amazing, and I think going into space makes complete sense, and it actually makes the terrain within the ending of the movie even more creepy, just because it looks very sanitized, really kind of hospital-like, to be honest. But yeah, let's just jump right into this. Hellraiser Bloodline basically follows Angelique, the daughter of Leviathan, which, if you don't know, is the god of the Cenobites, which are the, Hellraiser, Chatterer, Deep Throat, Butterball, all of them. Basically any of them that are with Pinhead or the Hell Priest at any given time. And Angelique looks absolutely sick. Love her design. She is with Chernard, or, yes, Chernard is the man who makes the box, I'm fairly certain. I'm not going to look it up, but I'm pretty sure. And then it's his, it's the dude who makes the box. And then she gets contracted to this dude goes with him. He eventually stands up to her and says, "Hey, I don't feel like doing that." And the contract specifically says if he goes against Hell's will, he's gonna get killed. So she kills him and ends up going on her own journey to destroy the man who made the box, or at least hurt him in some way. And as they're going, his, ancient, I don't know, freaking great 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 grandchildren and stuff like that are trying to slowly figure out how to stop him. And then at the end, they go to the space station, which he is converting into a massive puzzle box, like a massive lament configuration type of thing. And he basically just learns that's how you make the cage, and then he traps them. That's it. This movie is amazing. If you haven't seen it, you go and watch it, please. And it has very, very little to do in space, but whenever you get to that point, it's actually really fun, to be honest. Like, this movie is just a really cool look into the history of the Cenobites and everything, and how far they're willing to go, and how far humans are willing to go, and how much they will sacrifice to stop them. This is just a genuinely good movie, and I only put it on here because, like I said, this is the go-to for people who want to say that space is where, slashers go to die. And honestly, I don't see that at all. I think this is a very well-made movie, definitely one of the best, most well-made movies in the Hellraiser franchise, by far. And I think that the whole going to space makes complete sense, and they do it very well with how it looks and everything, and it makes it way creepier because of the lighting and everything, like I already said. And yeah, this is just an amazing movie. Another slam dunk for, slashers going to space. But the next one is a full-on slasher goes to space movie. A perfect one at that. And one of the main reasons that I wish we would see something like this again. Oh, and his name was the Marchand, not Chenard. I was thinking of the Doctor from Hellraiser 2, whenever he gets turned into the Cenobite. You should watch that movie too, if you haven't seen it, actually. It's not in space, which is very sad, but it's still a really good movie. Okay, I've been hyping this last movie up for a very, very long time, and I know for a fact all of you who know about the slashers in space type of genre know exactly what I was going to talk about from the very beginning, and that's Jason X. Yeah, these movies don't really... There aren't a lot of these types of movies, and that kind of makes me mad. And people dunk on Jason X all the time, and you know what? It doesn't have any flaws that every single Friday the 13th movie doesn't have. So let's not act like this movie isn't perfect in every way, okay? This movie starts with Jason being taken because he got frozen in... there were these military dudes trying to chase him. He stabbed a nitrogen thing, and then it froze them all. He's not dead yet, because of course he's not. So they take him onto the ship, and then they end up, I don't... They basically just end up dissecting him for some reason, and then he wakes up, and they have a sink full of liquid nitrogen for some reason. So he walks over there, grabs the chick, lifts up her shirt, because of course it's a Friday the 13th movie, and then dunks her head into the liquid nitrogen that's in the sink with no protection for some reason, and freezes her head, and then slams it on the whatever it's called, the counter. My god, I forgot what a counter was called. And you know what? That is the greatest intro for a movie ever. So it's literally just Jason in space all the way through, and then at the very end, he ends up getting blown up by this robot chick. Everyone thinks he's dead. They're like, yeah, we got this. And then, yeah, nanites within the ship activate, because anybody that gets harmed within the med bay, it automatically activates and heals them. So that's how we get Uber Jason, which is one of the coolest things ever. So this movie is basically a perfect Friday the 13th movie, because we get a new evolution of Jason, we get some very good kills, and there is a VR room in this ship that basically just shows him Camp Crystal, like what they think he wants to see. And then he sees two teenagers like on the VR in sleeping bags, and he picks them up and slams them against each other until they die. Do you know how cool that is? It's like the sleeping bag kill, but better. 2 for 1 right there. This is probably one of the best Friday the 13th movies, like by anyone's standards. I think This is the second most pointed to reason for whenever people say that this like subgenre shouldn't work, and it doesn't work. But all I have to say is that this movie takes everything from every single Friday the 13th movie and makes it better and puts it in space. It does exactly what these types of movies are supposed to do. Honestly, this is the best subgenre ever created. We need more slashers in space. And that's basically all this video was made to say. Just because I like all three of these movies. I could see why you wouldn't like the first or second one. I actually know I couldn't. Leprechaun in Space is absolutely goated. And the Hellraiser like Bloodline is just one of the best Hellraiser movies ever, and actually goes into the creation of the box and everything. That's just a really good movie, man. And then Jason X is just genuinely a fun time. And Uber Jason, come on. I mean, smash, right? He kind of hot. But yeah, these movies are amazing. This is a subgenre that needs to be brought back. You know how many people at the riots would be started if Nightmare on Elm Street in space was announced? Yeah, this is basically just me ranting about how people need to stop bullying this subgenre so that people will feel brave enough to make more movies like this. I mean, there are so... dude, let's get... They could do... whatever it's called, this... Oh, man. I am blanking on everything today. I cannot remember what those movies are called. Jeepers Creepers. I could see that one being really good in space. Like a Jeepers Creepers in space, that would be good. We could get that. We could get... Yeah, I have no idea what happened to the audio there, but I'm pretty sure I went on one of my copyrighted rain rants there, and it just didn't get any of it. But yeah, I did want to come back anyways and say that this has my favorite, one of my favorite characters in a horror movie ever, and it's the dude that rides Jason down back to Earth from outer space. That's like the sickest thing ever. And also the tagline for this movie being "Evil gets an upgrade" is simultaneously the most badass and funny thing I've ever heard. Yeah, that's it. Now back to the regularly whatever program. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, this video doesn't really have a point other than this is like one of the best subgenres, and I need people to stop bullying it. All of the movies that people point to like point out the fact that this is bad, and like every horror movie goes to space to die. It's just come on. These movies are absolutely amazing. People bully Jason X for man, all its life. It's been bullied. It's sad. It's just sad, man. Yeah, I have no idea. Space is the second scariest place, maybe 100th. The ocean exists, so it's already down to 2. Yeah, I don't know. Go and watch all of these movies. Tell me what your favorite space horror movie is within this beautiful subgenre. Yeah, I don't know. Like, subscribe, all that type of stuff, and I don't know. Go in the comments and fight for the right to say Jason X is amazing. I don't know. See ya.